Let's go to our grammar books to page 85. Grammar, page 85. I think my computer is okay now, but I do have to tell you that this morning in one of my classes, it just completely shut off. But I think what happened was because I have a Mac and I've been avoiding an update because it's been asking me to update and I haven't wanted to. And I think I waited so long. They were like, you're doing it right now. And this is the moment in time. And your computer's going off. And then it went off and then it came back on. So I think I'm good. But just in case you lose me, I'll message your parents and tell you what's going on in case you just lose me out of nowhere. So just thought I'd tell you that. It's kind of funny. They force you to comply with Apple. Okay. Page 85, imposter, ly adverbs. Do you guys know what an imposter is? Have you heard that word before?
I think, hold on, let me see. Sorry. I was on 79. I'm like, what?
Have you heard of it, Valentina? Imposter?
Yes, I have.
Well, how would you describe what an imposter is?
It's like somebody who fakes to blend. So Lucas is talking about this game Among Us where the imposter is somebody that blends in with the innocent, but really isn't innocent.
Ah.
So
okay. That's a good one. So they pretend to be somebody they're not. That's an imposter, right?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so for grammar, that's basically words that look like they're going to be ly adverbs because they have an ly, but they're really not because they're just words that end in ly. So sometimes we have to watch for that. That's exactly what we're talking about in this lesson. So an imposter ly adverb is a word that looks like an ly adverb because it ends, I just said that, in ly, but it's actually an adjective. So here, if the ly word modifies a verb, an adjective or an adverb, it will tell when, where, why, how, to what extent. Then it is an adverb. And you're just going to mark it with ly for each ly adverb. And those are really easy to find because all you have to do is look for the ly word. But sometimes I want you to skip down to the very bottom here. They give you a list of imposters, like chili. Chili ends with ly, and by the way, this is not the chili that you eat with meat and beans.
I thought that was.
But this is chilly, like it's cold outside. It's chilly. The wind is blowing, and that's how it is right now at my house. I mean, you can see I'm all bundled up here and I'm cold because it's like down into the 40s today for some crazy reason. Yesterday, it was like in the 80s. Today, it decides to be in the 40s. So
yep,
it's chilly. Okay, so friendly, ghastly, ghostly, holy, kingly, knightly, lonely, lovely, lowly, orderly, prickly, queenly, ugly, worldly, wrinkly. All of those have ly, but they are not adverbs. They do not modify a verb. They are describing a noun. So these are adjectives. That's what they mean by imposters. So just watch out for those. Up here, your example says, the soldier thoughtfully shared his meal. So thoughtfully is an adverb because it's talking about how. So if you keep those questions in mind, right here, if it tells when, where, why, how, or to what extent, if you keep those in mind, that'll help you identify the adverbs. Okay. If the ly word describes a noun or pronoun, it will tell which one or what kind. That means it's an adjective. And then you would use adj above each adjective. So the friendly soldier shared his meal. So friendly is telling about the soldier, which is a noun. What kind of soldier? Oh, what kind or which one? The friendly soldier. Okay, so that's how you tell the difference between the two. Let's go to our practice page. Let's see, Harmony, could you read we have 2 sentences today. Can you read our sentences, please?
Wait. The king was weary he called his daughter and told her that she must Antony immediately return the stolen treasures.
Good, nice job. Weary is the vocabulary word today. Weary, I'm sure you know this maybe. It just means tired. When you're lacking strength or energy, weary. So we'll put a check there. We know what weary means. And then you guys know what to do here already. So I like to always write them in just as a little reminder. And then you can find them. There's 2 of them. Okay, good. All right, Valentina, how about the nouns? We have 3.
So king,
King, good.
daughter,
Okay.
and let's see. King, so I was going to say maybe he or she, but
Those,
the
go ahead.
pronouns.
Yes, pronouns.
So we have daughter, and treasures.
Yes, there you go, treasures, good. I like your thinking because you kind of just talked out loud as you were thinking that you did a good job with that. Okay, so then let's go on to Kylie for the pronouns. Oh, you're muted. If you said it, I didn't hear you.
He, her, she.
He and her and she. Good. Sometimes her is an adjective, but the way it's written in this sentence, it is a pronoun, how it's used. Told her. All right, and then Harmony, how about the adjectives? Those are words that are going to describe the nouns. Answering questions like which one, what kind, those kinds of questions. Oh,
Describe.
there you go.
Stolen.
Wait, which one?
Color. Stolen.
Stolen treasures. Yes, because that's describing the treasures. Good. That's one. There's 2 more.
Where's the other nouns? Weary.
Good. Yes, weary is one. It's telling what kind of king, the weary king.
And then find your other noun. So I found that one.
And then whose for this
Where's
one?
the other noun?
Whose daughter?
His.
His. There you go. Good job. And again, that's one of those that could be a pronoun, but in this, the way it's used here, it's an adjective describing the noun. Okay, so back to Valentina. How about the ly adverb?
Okay, so it looks like immediately.
Yes. Pretty easy. That has an ly on it.
I was like, I didn't want to like I was checking if there was like any imposters, but I think it would say it.
Yeah, it's good to check. This one doesn't, but I think in your homework, you might have one or 2
Okay.
imposters. So watch out for those. Kylie, do you remember the coordinating conjunctions?
And
And it's fanboys, right? Remember that acronym? We've been talking about that. Okay, good. How about back to Harmony for the that clause? The that clause will start with the word that and usually goes to the end of the sentence. So read the whole that clause once you find it.
That she must immediately return that stolen treasures.
Nice. Good job, Harmony. That's perfect. Yep. It starts with that, and we're going to put the word that on top of it just to label it there. Moving on to verbs and subjects. So subject verb pairs, they go together. So Valentina, what about the verbs? Where are the verbs at?
So verbs.
Action words or helping or linking. There's lots of them in here.
Return.
Return, yep, that's one.
And let's see. Maybe stolen.
Stolen is already labeled as a adjective, so not that one.
Wary.
Alarm off. Warning.
Weary is already an adjective.
Not
Adjective.
responding.
Yeah. So if it
Okay,
already
then
has a
I'm
label-
gonna say told.
Yes, told is one.
So and then there's one more, right? Because there's 3.
Well, there's actually 2, 3, 4, 5 altogether. So there's 3 more, but some of them are helping or linking verbs.
Be called.
Called is one verb, yes. Now there's 2 more, and these are going to link. Well, the first one is going to help the sentence here with the adjective. It's actually linking. I always get those confused, linking and helping verbs, but this one is linking the noun to the adjective. So it's right
Was.
there, yeah. Was is a linking verb.
And so we have 4 right now.
So one more, yeah.
I'm gonna say must.
Yes, that's right, because it is also linking the pronoun here to the verb return. Must immediately, they go together. Good, okay. Now the subject. So I'm going to have Kylie look at the verbs and tell who or what. So was, weary, king, good, that's one. What about that?
He.
Yep, he, good. And then must immediately return. Who's the pronoun? I mean, who's the subject there? What did you say? Yeah, she. You're right. I didn't hear it at first. Good. All right. 2 capitals. That's pretty easy. Those are the first words, right, of each sentence. The and he. And then we have an end mark at the end, and that's it, guys. Not so bad. Go ahead and write that down. You already done, Kylie? You're not done? Write it down. We're writing the sentences down. Okay. Oh, got it. Good. Okay.
Are you gonna, excuse me,
Yes.
the capitalization words?
I was going to start with that because I just found that note in my book and I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't ever finish that. Did you finish your grammar, Harmony? Okay, good. Go ahead and put your grammar aside. Yes. And here's my note. Left off here in Tuesday's class. I left you guys hanging way back on April 18th on this one. So hopefully you still have this. It should be hopefully at the front of your binder. The note from a long time ago. Give me a thumbs up if you found it. I know Kylie did. Did you find this one? Oh, good. Harmony did. Okay, good. Yay, you didn't lose it. That's good. Apparently I lost it because I forgot to talk about it last week. So, all right. So let's do this. Capitalizing a title. So there are a few rules, just not many. There are a few rules about how to capitalize the title of a story. And you guys are working on that. When you finish your paragraphs, you know the title rule. You got to use that last sentence and then use words from the last sentence in your title. But capitalizing it is important to know. And we already talked about always capitalizing the first and last words of the title. No matter what it is, you always capitalize the first and the last words of the title. And then there are some words, and go ahead and skip a line and put number 2. This is the second title rule, capitalization rule. And this one is going to be do not capitalize. I'm going to give you a list of things that we don't capitalize.
Like fanboys.
Like a word.
Like a.
Yes, you're right. So I'm going to have you put this one first. These are prepositions. Do not capitalize prepositions. And I'm just going to have you do a dash, and we'll make a little list of these. So over, in, with, to, and of. We'll just make a little list like that.
And then like dot.
There might be a few more, but prepositions you don't have to capitalize. You can leave those lowercase.
What if it's like the preposition is like at the end of it? Like you still capitalize that?
Yep, because that is the number 1 rule. Always the first and last word. So
yeah, mine's hard.
It would be weird to end your title with one of these, but I guess if you were trying to be creative and you like
let's get this over with.
Oh, okay. Good example. I was just trying to think of one. Get this over with. It has over and with. So yeah, you would have to type.
It would be like a comic book.
You would have to capitalize get and with, even though it says here not to capitalize that. But the first rule is always true. And then articles, you guys know what those are from grammar. A and the, except if it's the first word, a, and a lot of times they do use a or the in the first word of the title. That's why we have that as the number 1 rule. Always capitalize first and last words, no matter what they are. But if it's a, and, or the in the middle of the title, then you don't need to capitalize it. And then when you said fanboys, that is correct, because conjunctions do not get capitalized. So for this one, let's just put fanboys here. And then you can look back in your grammar book if you need to for that one. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Unless it's the first or the last word, you don't capitalize those. Everything else you do, though, if it has a name in it, like King Midas, even if it's a longer title, like King Midas and the Touch of Gold.
Or the Golden Touch.
And the Golden Touch, there you go. So that would be, let's skip 2 lines and put examples. So King Midas, that's going to be capital. King will be anyway because it's the first word, but also because it is his name. It's a proper noun. King Midas. And then and is not, because it is here a conjunction. The is not, because it is an article. But golden is a keyword, and then touch because it's the last word. That's how it would look, King Midas and the golden touch. And in the, you don't need to capitalize. First and last words always are, but then we have golden. Remember, keywords is also good to remember. In fact, let's add that to our rule right here, way up here under first and last words. Let's add keywords there. You know what those are. So like names or important words to know for the story, like golden. That's an important word. You got to know that word in order to understand the story. Okay. And you can come up with other examples later. I'm just going to leave that one example right there. But there you go. Those are the rules of capitalizing a title of a story. So you can put this with your at the front of your binder so that you know where it's at when you need to go back and look at that. So we got that done. Yay. Now, this week you wrote about why opossum has a bare tail. That was the little fable that we read last week. And before we go and share our paragraph, you can think about it if you want to share, but before we share, I want you to look at your paragraph that you wrote for your homework and check to make sure you have 3 words underlined. You should have an ly adverb underlined. You should have who or which underlined, and then you should have a strong verb underlined. If you see 3 words underlined in your paragraph, give me a thumbs up. Check your paragraph, see if you have 3 words underlined there. If you don't have 3 words, you can give me a thumbs down. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that, oops, I forgot. Okay, Valentina has a sideways one. That means maybe you got some of them, but some of them you forgot. Okay.
I forgot one, which is an ly adverb.
Okay. And do you have the ly adverb there? You just forgot to underline it, or did you forget the word altogether?
I think I forgot the word altogether. I'm going to look for
Okay.
a space that fits an ly adverb, but everything else I do
Perfect. Okay, so look for a space next to a verb, an action word, and go ahead and think of one and put it in there. And then I saw Harmony's thumb down. That's okay, Harmony. So do you have any words yet underlined on your paragraph? Okay. So did you remember to include an ly adverb in your paragraph? Like if you read it right now to yourself, Harmony, do you see an ly adverb in there, or did you forget to put one in?
We're behind on this week's writing.
Oh, okay. No problem.
We're behind on the writing this week.
Okay.
We'll get it caught up.
That's okay. I don't mean to put you guys on the spot. You guys can just listen in then and know for next time when she does it. So no problem. How about you, Kylie? Did you get your 3 dress ups underlined? Okay, good. And I see Valentina. Okay. Say that again, Kylie.
I have 2 strong verbs.
Ooh, good. Okay. So Valentina or Kylie, do you feel like reading your paragraph? Okay, I see thumbs up from Valentina. So go ahead, you can read yours. And then you can too if you want, Kylie, after she's done, okay? Go for it.
There once lived a possum who was proud of his big, white, fluffy tail. It was just magnificently stunning. But one day he spotted a raccoon who had elegant rings around his tail. So a possum looks at sorry, I said it wrong. So a possum looks up into the tree at the raccoon, and then that was the first paragraph.
Okay, good. Nice. Okay, jazz hands for Valentina. Good paragraph. I liked it. Very nice. And I heard your dress up words in there. You did a really nice job with that. Excellent. Okay, Kylie, do you feel like reading your paragraph?
Mhm.
Okay, go for it.
A possum was proud and greedy. One day he spotted a mischievous raccoon. He had elegant rings on his tail. Opossum looked at his white, long, furry tail. He sauntered his way to the tree, then spied the raccoon. How did you get those rings? Who asked politely, but yet questioningly.
Nice. I like that. And you said a word. Oh, I was trying to remember what it was, but you said a really good sauntered. Yes, that was the word. It's a verb, a strong verb, and very good. It's a very descriptive verb describing how he walked. So very nice. Let's give jazz hands to Kylie. Good job, Kylie. All right. So now we're going to move on to the next part of the story. So remember, we're talking about the story sequence chart. And this is where we left off last week. And you already used these words here in your first paragraph. We're going to move on to this middle part and then the last part. So do you remember when you have a story or even a movie or a book or something like that? Usually we start with the characters and the setting because you have to introduce everybody, right? And I gave the analogy like Kung Fu Panda. I think we talked about that last time. Have you guys all seen that movie, Kung Fu Panda? Yes. And when it starts out, we're learning about the characters. I'm thinking of the first one. And we're learning about all the characters and where they're at. Everything okay, Kylie?
I lost the paper.
Oh, looked like you were looking for something. Hopefully it's in your binder. It should be the front. And okay. And Harmony, I think you missed last week. So if you want to copy this down or have your mom or dad take a screenshot of that, you can. That'll help you get through that part a little faster. But here's what we did last week in class. We came up with those keywords to help introduce the characters in the setting. So who remembers what happened what part do you describe next? Do you start with characters and setting? What usually comes in next in a story? Problem. Yes. Problem and
something. Problem and something.
Conflict. That was the word. I was trying to remember what the word was. So problem / conflict. That is in the middle of the story. Usually that's what happens. There's an issue, right? One of the characters has a problem. And so it's the rest of that part of the story is how are they going to solve that problem? So the problem and conflict happens in the middle. And this is where we answer the question, what does the character need? What are they thinking? What are they saying? What are they doing? We're answering what here? What's happening? Why is there a problem? And what is going on in the problem? So that's the question we're asking in the middle. And we left off here. You guys did a great job writing that paragraph. We left off here with Opossum looking up in the tree and asking Raccoon, how did you get that pretty tail? And then this is where we're going to start talking about the problem because Raccoon responds. And what is he saying? What does Raccoon say? Do you remember that next part?
Yeah. He put some kind of bark on his tail and put it over the coal. When the bark burns, it goes on his tail.
Yes. And Valentina, were you going to say something else too?
I was gonna say it from my memory, but I remember him telling him about that he needed like to get wood and like burn his tail or something.
Yeah. And so he was playing a trick, right? Remember the story? He was playing a trick. Let me ask you this, Harmony, did you read the story yet? Or have you not read the story yet about Opossum? Okay. I don't want you to be too lost. This is what we're talking about here.
These things.
So this is from week 7. So if you guys want to,
What page are you on? Did you skip a page?
I mean,
I think that's it.
That's okay. Just like you got to take them off and you got to restart from that part.
Go ahead and mute your. There you go. Okay. So this is week 7 in the binder. If you guys want to get out, this is for Harmony because I know she accidentally missed.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Is it okay if you turn it back to the story sequence start? I lost mine.
Oh,
Right.
you're copying it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fine.
I had
I'll give you a
Thank
second
you.
to catch up with that. You're welcome.
detail.
So while you're writing that down, okay, you have it, Harmony, good. I think what I'll do is just read the story really quick while Kylie's writing this down. We'll refresh our memory and then Harmony can be up to speed with what's going on here. So I'm looking at page 55, Harmony, and I'm going to read the story, Why Opossum Has a Bare Tail. And I just want you to know that the story is a fable, which means it's not real, it's pretend, it's fiction, but it does have a lesson we can learn from it. And we'll talk about that again, but I'll just read it and you can follow along. Okay, Harmony? Okay. Long ago, when the first animals roamed the land and all of them could talk, Opossum had a long, white, furry tail. He was proud of his tail, but one afternoon he spied Raccoon preening himself on a branch of a tree. Raccoon's tail was, with its lustrous rings, looked so elegant in the setting sun that Opossum became jealous and wished for such a tail. So he waddled over to Raccoon's tree, looked up, and asked politely, "How did you get those pretty rings on your tail?" Now, Raccoon was a haughty and mischievous character who looked down upon Opossum. Raccoon determined to play a cruel trick on him. "Well, I wrapped cedar bark around my tail here and here and here and here," he demonstrated. "Then I placed my tail in the coals of a fire, and the fur between the bark burned black, but the rest remained white, as you can see." Thanking Raccoon, Opossum rushed away to gather some cedar bark. He wrapped strips around his tail just as Raccoon had instructed. Then he went to the clearing in the forest where many of the animals were enjoying a big bonfire. When the fire died down, he turned and placed his tail in the red-hot coals. However, the coals were still so hot that Opossum's fur and the bark caught on fire. His tail was burning like a torch. He panicked and jumped into the pond to put out the flames. When Opossum saw his poor naked tail, he wailed and moaned. Although he waited years for his lovely white tail fur to grow back, it never did, because the tail was so badly burnt. It remained bare for the rest of his life, and all his children, and all his children's children, and all his children's children's children have had bare tails ever since.
The end.
There you go, the end. And here he is, mad.
How dare he?
That raccoon, I'm gonna get him back someday. I bet that's what
He's dead already.
yeah, probably. Okay, back to this. So the problem, and we have to bring up Raccoon at this point because look, this is when he's like, "How did you get your tail so pretty?" So remember, the raccoon decided to play a mean trick, right? So let's put R. By the way, R raccoon. We decided to use Harmony. O with a circle is opossum, and then R with a circle is raccoon. And he was mischievous. Let's put that word because that kind
Wait,
of.
we did that in the top one.
Did we do? Oh, we did. Thank you.
What
Let's
about
put mean trick. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's just put raccoon. He does a mean trick next. Were you going to say something else, Kylie?
I was gonna say, well, we could do cruel, but then I looked at the thing.
Oh. Cruel. We could say cruel or mean. Yeah. All right. So now let's ask Harmony, now that she knows the story, what did Raccoon tell Opossum to do with his tail? Remember?
Wrap it in cedar bark. Go. He said
He said
to
to rip it. He said to
To wrap it.
wrap it
wrap it in
in
cedar bark.
cedar bark.
Yeah, he did. He said to wrap it with the cedar. You know, cedar is a type of tree. And the bark, you know, is the part that grows on the tree. And then what did, after you wrap it with that, what did he say to do with his tail after that? Remember?
Put it in the
Coals. Put it in coals.
In the coals, yes. So put it in the coals or the fire, right? So let's put here in quotes, he said to wrap and tail in the bark. Bark is the part of the tree that it's like part of the wood from the tree, right? And if you guys ever have a campfire or a fire in the fireplace, you use that part to help get the fire going. It's like it burns really easily. And then you're right, after that for number 2, he says, put, and then hot coals. Oops, C-O-A-L-S. So put hot coals. Put the tail in the hot coals, right? That's the part of the fire that's the hottest part, the coals at the bottom, and they glow and they're like bright orange, or sometimes they're bright yellow-ish, reddish.
I'm surprised that they don't turn to lava.
I know, it's like the hottest part of the fire is the coals, the hottest part.
Well, if there even is coals.
Right? And then what did he promise, Kylie? What did he promise would happen after you put your tail in the hot coals? What did he say would happen to it? Remember, what was the trick that he said?
Oh yeah.
Hot coals.
What's that word? Oh yeah. And it would come out beautiful.
Beautiful, right? It would be the black rings would be between the bark. So the part that had the bark was supposed to stay white, right? So let's put, he says the rings will between, whoops, E-E-N. The rings between will be black. The rings between the bark will be black. That's what he promises. So that is the problem, but guess what? We really, I don't think Opossum realizes it's a problem yet, because he's just saying, hey, all you got to do is wrap this stuff around your tail and go over there and put your tail inside the hot coals. And that's all you got to do. That's how I got my rings. So that's the trick.
You never trust anybody.
Yeah. So he does it. Opossum's like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you. Like he's thinking, oh, what a nice guy. He told me how he got his rings. That's such a nice guy. So he's being duped. That's how we would say it, right? He's like, no clue.
Being taken advantage of.
Yes, taking advantage of. Yes. He has no clue what's about to happen. All right. And then after, so that is the problem. And later he finds out that's the problem.
If animals could talk, then they should have had a time machine.
Yeah. Go back in time and go.
It's like nonsense land.
Right?
Yeah. I'm going to go back in time and slap myself.
And tell myself, don't listen to Raccoon. Whatever you do, don't listen to Raccoon, right?
You will lose your tail.
Don't do it. Don't believe it. Don't listen.
Use the key words. Hot coals. Well, hot coals are very hot and it burns stuff.
All right, now we're down to this last box here. So what are we going to talk about at the end? What part is this part of the story? Do you know, Valentina? Let me see if Valentina knows. Okay, Kylie. What is the last part about?
Like the last part is like he like realizes like what happened. Like he realizes that it was a trick and basically his tail's like burnt now. Like he's
Right.
like I was about to say like he's gathering the information that he just burned his tail. And then like they to go into like that his children's aren't gonna have tails and how like his whole reputation is like ruined and
Good. I like how you said that. Yes, keep that in mind. But what part of the story is this? So we have the characters and setting, and then the problem and conflict. What happens usually at the end of the story? What part is this?
that's like when they solve the problem.
Yes, good.
The hero part.
Yes,
Yeah.
they solve the problem. So there's a word, it's called climax,
Climax.
and then slash, and then resolution. Climax, that's that part, remember with Po and Kung Fu Panda, that's where he's battling Kai, and we don't know if he's going to win or lose, right? We don't know if Kai is going to take over the city or if Po is going to actually win the battle, because they're fighting and we don't know who's going to win when you watch it the first time. So that climax is that point of the story. It's like, okay, is Opossum really going to listen to Raccoon and put his tail in the fire?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I know. That climax, though, is that point where it's like, okay, I don't know how this is going to end. So this is talking about how. How is it solved? So we start out by asking who and where, what is the problem? And now we're talking about how is it solved? So now we left off right here that his rings, that he said, oh, the rings between the bark will turn black and you'll have beautiful rings on your tail. So then Opossum, he does, O for Opossum, he does what Raccoon says to do. And so he wrapped his tail with the bark. He actually did it. And then he went to the bonfire, right?
Yep.
And he put his
burned
tail in the coals. So let's put bonfire, tail, and then let's draw an arrow in the coals. So he actually did it. He went to the bonfire and put his tail in the coals.
It's for you.
And then what happened, Kylie? What happened when he put his tail in the fire?
Just give it to me.
It burnt.
It's gone bye-bye.
And it turned into what? A torch. You know what a torch is?
Mhm.
Yeah. A torch is like a long stick and it's got like usually a ball or something on it that's caught on fire, right? It's really hot. The torch itself is hot. So the fire burned his tail, and I'm going to put fire, tail, torch. His tail turned into a torch. Okay, so I'll give you a second to write that down. If I'm not going too fast here. So we're still at the climax. We don't know how this thing's going to end yet. So now he's got an even bigger problem. His tail is on fire. So you can imagine it's burning on fire. Okay, hold on, Valentina. After Harmony writes this down, I want to know if she can tell us, what did Opossum do after she writes it? We'll give her a second to write this down. And then I'll come back to you, Valentina. You can tell us how it ends at the very, very end. Okay, good, Harmony. So now, Harmony, you can imagine Opossum's tail is on fire. What does he do next?
Tell her he cried.
He cried.
Yes.
He moaned.
He moaned and he cried. He probably was saying, ow, 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 because it's on fire. How did he get the fire out? Harmony, do you remember what he did to get the fire out?
Right.
Look, what did he do? He jumped in the
Jumped to the pond.
In the pond. Very good.
Into the pond.
Yes, because the water put out the fire, right? So let's put that. Jumped. And then put into pond. That's what he did next, right? He jumped into pond. That's how he's solving his problem now. Jumped into pond. And honestly, there's one more thing we should talk about because it didn't end exactly right there. So I'm going to have you add a number 4 after you write that. We're just going to add a 4 because I feel like we need one there. And it's okay if you need a 4 on yours when you do that on your own next time. So what do you think, Valentina? What happened? He got the fire out. He's looking at his tail. It's this moment in time right here.
Yeah.
So
he realized that eventually, like, they talk about how eventually, like, how his children's tails were bare and it was so badly burnt that, like, it just kept on going, and his children's tail were burnt, and his children's tail was also gone.
yes, so that beautiful white furry tail that he had is no longer there, right?
No.
So I'm going to say let's put fur and then circle it and then put a line through it. Have you ever seen those signs at the beach? I think we've talked about this before.
For, like, no littering or something. And
Yeah, or like the dog, and it has a little picture of a dog with a circle and a line through it, like no dogs allowed on the beach. So that just means no more fur. The fur is gone. The fur is bye-bye. It's just evaporated into thin air. And we'll just put children. Nobody from then on had any hair or fur on their tail after that, as far as the opossum goes. That was it.
Yep, that was it.
That was
sad.
it. Kind of sad. Mhm.
Yeah. Now I know the
All right.
backstory. Each time I see a possum, one time
Now you know the backstory. Yeah.
long ago, like a year ago, I was in my front yard and there was this huge animal. It looked like a dog. It looked like a medium-sized dog.
Okay.
And once I got closer to it, it was a possum standing on both its feet.
Like up on its back feet?
Yes,
Oh my
and it was
gosh.
just walking across. It was very scary.
Wow. Yeah, they can be kind of mean. Like they'll bite you if you get too close. That would be
I
a
don't
little
like
scary.
them. I mean, I'm sure they're sweet if you get to know them, but
I don't think I want to take the time to get to know them though. 'Cause
yeah.
I have heard
don't
that
know.
they can be pretty mean if they're scared,
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a peek. We have just a few minutes left, 1 minute to be exact, but we'll do this quickly. Let's take a peek to the checklist here, back on this. And don't forget right here, these dress-up words. And you have ly adverb, who, which clause, and strong verb. So each paragraph should have those 3 words underlined. So next week when you come to class, I'm going to ask you, does each of your paragraphs have 3 words underlined? Okay, so make sure you're ready for that. And then you want to make sure that because you're going to write the paragraphs 2 and 3 this week. Okay. So you're going to wrap up your story. And you can make a new title now because you'll be done with your 3 paragraphs. So when you write your new title, don't forget the title rules right here. 1 to 3 keywords from the final sentence.
So we're gonna take a break.
And also don't forget the capitalization rules for the title too. And one more reminder, you have your banned words list here. Say, said, see, saw. So if you have any speaking parts in your story, and you're welcome to do that with the quotation marks, just make sure you don't say or said. You'll have to use a different word like either questioned, like Opossum questioned Raccoon, how did you get those pretty rings on your tail? Or Opossum inquired, that's another good one. Or he yelled, maybe the tree is really tall and maybe Raccoon's way at the top of the tree. And he's like, did you get those pretty rings on your tail? So he could yell or scream or something like that. So you think of a different word rather than say, said, okay, or see, saw. So your homework this week is to finish up your story. You already did paragraph 1. You're going to do paragraph 2 and 3 for next week, and make sure you use your checklist. This is really important, especially this part right here, the dress up words. And then your grammar. Okie dokie. Are there any questions about homework?
Nope.
No questions? Well, then that's it for today. Good job, girls. I will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye, you guys. See you next time.